Good morning, children. Today I want to tell you stay home, stay safe. So, we are going to learn chapter 26, part 2, in which we will learn first the fifth topic, that is Bohr's atomic model. To learn about this topic, there are two conditions. To understand those two conditions, we should know some basic knowledge. That is, first one is angular momentum. Angular momentum is the moment of linear momentum. So we can see angular momentum formula is R cross P, R cross linear momentum. But we know linear momentum is mv. So the formula for angular momentum is mvr, in which m is the mass, v is the velocity, and r is the radius. So this equation, this formula is for angular momentum. We are learning about the angular momentum of an electron. So the r is here electron's radius, that means radius of the orbit. Next one is the Planck's quantum theory, according to which we get the equation E is equal to h nu. Energy is equal to Planck's constant into frequency. E is equal to h nu. Now we have to learn two conditions. First condition is, according to Bohr, electron cannot remain in any of the orbit. Electrons, they can remain in an orbit according to their angular momentum. That condition is followed by this equation. If the angular momentum of an electron is mvr, then it can remain in the orbit having quantum number n. Thus, mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. It means electrons cannot remain in any of the orbits. It goes to a particular orbit depending upon their angular momentum. That is the first Bohr's theory, which is called quantization condition. N is the quantum number and h is Planck's constant. Second one is, when the electron revolves in the stable orbit, it will not radiate energy. Even though it is having centripetal acceleration, it will not radiate energy. That means it will not lose energy when it revolves in a particular orbit. It loses energy when it comes down from higher energy level to lower energy level. That means from the excited state, when the electron come to the lower energy level, then it will release energy, or vice versa. That means from the lower energy, when it goes to higher energy, it has to absorb the same amount of energy. It means electron is not able to release or absorb any amount of energy. It absorbs or releases a fixed amount, a discrete amount of energy. It depends on from which level to which level it is moving. So until and unless it is not changing its energy level, it cannot absorb or release energy, even though it has got centripetal acceleration. When it goes to the other energy level, excited energy level, in that stage, in that energy level, it can remain only about 10 to the power minus 8 seconds. It cannot remain more than that time. Afterwards, it comes back to normal energy level. So when it jumps from one energy level to another level, the change in the energy, that is delta E equal to E2 minus E1, is equal to h nu. So we can say nu is equal to E2 minus E1 upon h. This equation is called the frequency condition. Very important. Both quantization condition as well as frequency condition. So what drawback Rutherford's model had is replaced by the explanation of Niels Bohr. Now come to Bohr's theory of hydrogen-like atoms. Children, it is a little big derivation. From this derivation, we get the formula which you have learned in chemistry for 1 upon lambda, this equation. So this is a little long derivation. Please focus, children. We can say that when the electron revolves in a revolves in an orbit, for that revolution it requires centripetal force. That centripetal force is provided by electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus as well as the electrons in the orbit. It means we can say this is for the centripetal force mv square upon r is equal to, this formula is for electrostatic force of attraction. That means attraction between the Z protons. So charge will be Ze. This is Z protons in the nucleus and the electron which is revolving in the orbit. So this centripetal force is equal to electrostatic force, children. In the electrostatic force formula, distance will be in terms of square, whereas in the electrostatic potential energy, distance will be only in power 1 only. That's the difference. Electrostatic potential energy formula is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R, whereas electrostatic force is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R square. When we simplify, so this is one equation. This equation is we get from the quantization condition. We take the square of it and divide this equation with this equation and simplify, we get this one. Here r is the distance between the nucleus and the orbit. That means radius of the orbit. After simplification, we get the formula for radius of the orbit. So you can see from this equation, all these parts are constant. So we can say R is proportional to n square. If we leave like this, we can say R is proportional to n square, where n is the quantum number of each orbit and r is the radius. So radius is proportional to n square. When the value of n increases, radius increases in terms of its square. That means the radius of the outer orbits are very large compared with the inner orbits. Next one is to get the equation for velocity of electron. To get the velocity of electron in a stationary orbit, we start getting the equation for this from the equation here. We have to get v, velocity of the electron in the stationary orbit. For that, we start from here. That is the quantization condition formula. Make the subject v. So v is equal to nh upon 2 pi mr. Here, in place of r, when you substitute and simplify, we will get this equation. So velocity of electron in a stationary orbit is given by this equation. So from this equation, we can say that V is inversely proportional to n. V proportional to 1 upon n. That is V inversely proportional to n. It means outer orbital electrons are having less velocity when they are stationary in the orbit. Next topic is energy of electron in stationary orbit. For that, you can see kinetic energy formula already we know, half mv square. V velocity formula we know from here. So when you simplify, we will get this equation for kinetic energy, that is half mv square is equal to z square upon 8 pi epsilon naught r. Now come to potential energy. Potential energy, in the last part of the chapter we have learned the electrostatic potential energy formula is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R. So here Q1 will be the charge inside the nucleus, that means Z protons, and electron in the orbit. So 1 electron, 1 minus E charge. So this is the electrostatic potential energy and this is the kinetic energy. Do the addition so that we get the total energy of the electron in the stationary orbit. So this equation is minus E is equal to minus Z small e square upon 8 pi epsilon naught R. Put the value of R from above. We get the value of R from here and do the simplification. We get the formula for energy of electron in the stationary orbit given by this equation. Let's do the simplification slowly and get this equation. But we know that by the frequency condition, frequency is equal to E2 minus E1 upon H. So here E2 we have to put here N2 square. E1 we have to put N1 square. Remember that there is a minus sign also. So when we get the value of frequency, that is by the frequency condition E2 minus E1 by H. Put for the E2 and E1 from here. Remember that there is a minus sign. So you will get in this form. Here N1 square will come first and N2 square will come last because of the minus sign. This is the formula for frequency nu. Now divide this equation by C. So you get nu by C. What is nu by C? Nu by C is 1 upon lambda, wave number. Lambda is the wavelength, 1 upon lambda is the wave number, is nu by C is equal to, after simplification you will get this formula. But this formula can be converted in terms of Rydberg constant, because Rydberg constant is equal to m e power 4 upon 8 epsilon naught square C h cube. So when we convert this 1 upon lambda in terms of Rydberg constant, we get the formula as Z square R into 1 upon N1 square minus 1 upon N2 square. So children, 1 upon lambda depends upon Z square. Z, if you are taking for hydrogen, it is 1. So the formula changes to 1 upon lambda is equal to R into 1 upon N1 square minus 1 upon N2 square. This formula you have learned in chemistry in 11th class. Formula you have learned, the derivation is given here. So remember, the formula is very, very important. Now we can write the energy formula in terms of Rydberg constant as from here. From the energy formula we can get E is equal to minus Z square RHC upon N square. So children, both the formula for energy as well as 1 upon lambda are very, very important. They can be asked in terms of numericals. Okay, children? Derive, practice it again and again. All right, and by heart the formula. Derivation also is important. Formula is very, very important for numericals. Okay, children? Thank you.